The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
PDP and police clash over religious march. The Progressive Democratic Patriots, PDP, held what they said was a religious march around the Assembly Legislature Scarborough on Friday, defying police orders not to do so. The march, which began shortly after noon, culminated a 6-hour prayer and fast session at James Park led by PDP political leader Watson Duke and the party's 5 other assemblymen. The event was aimed at seeking divine intervention to end the 6-6 deadlock in the Tobago House of Assembly. After the prayer and fasting, the party supporters had planned to march around the Assembly legislature 7 times in a symbolic gesture. But as they were about to begin the march, which was led by PDP Deputy Leader Farley Augustine, a female police officer prevented the group from moving onto the street. She claimed they did not have permission to march. Augustine and Duke paid no mind to the officer and carried on, telling their supporters to walk in single file in keeping with the physical distancing COVID-19 protocols. Realizing the PDP had disobeyed the officer's orders, Superintendent Rodil Kirk quickly intervened, instructing his officers to stop the march. He told Duke the PDP had requested permission for a peaceful vigil, not a procession. Duke, who retained the Roxborough-Delaford seat in the January 25th THA election, responded, "Officer, as a political leader and one who has studied law, the Summary Offences Act speaks about the police commissioner granting permission for protests and marches. However, a religious procession does not need permission. That is excluded." Kirk questioned whether the march was a religious procession. Duke said, "Yes, it is. We spent the entire morning praying and fasting. We are walking on one side of the road and we are quiet." Kirk said while nobody could prevent them from praying and fasting in James Park, "You see, when you get on the streets, that is a different thing." He was adamant the march was not a religious procession, owing to the number of supporters who were wearing PDP jerseys and carrying party flags. Duke told Kirk he was free to lock them up if they did something wrong, but if we are doing something right, please be aware we will file legal action. I have advised you this is a religious procession. It is a prayer and fast day. We have come from reading scriptures, preaching to our members. We have freedom of expression. Duke said the PDP assembly were not wearing political jerseys. "We have a Tobago flag, so how could you say to us that this is about politics? This is religious." Duke repeated his call for the officer to lock us up if he felt he was right. The PDP leader then turned his back on the superintendent and urged supporters to continue with the walk. The police did not interfere with the marchers, but looked on from the sidelines. There was also some tension between PDP supporters and a PNM supporter driving a van with a huge PNM flag attached. Ringing a bell while driving near the PDP procession, he drew the ire of some PDP supporters. Speaking afterwards, Augustine told reporters the party had informed the police about the march. "We indicated to members of the TTPS that we would be having a religious service on Friday. Based on the laws of TT, you do not need police permission for a religious procession. You will need for any other type of procession. Additionally, the laws do not say that you have to have a religious organization to have religious activity." He said the party had a religious activity which was protected by the Constitution. Therefore, any other law that is inconsistent to the Constitution is null and void, and that is why we persist in walking. Augustine said the PDP has had confrontations before with the police. "I have been an assemblyman since 2017, and the first action I called here at James Park had more police than people. I have walked from Roxborough with police chasing us and saying we are not allowed to walk. Augustine said the march was successful. On Saturday, the other side PNM is hastening to have a religious activity. That tells us that we have to set the right tone for spirituality on the island. He added the party has also gone beyond depending on our carnality and human intervention and strategies to solve the deadlock. We are depending on Almighty God to solve this, and above all, we are confident that God will resolve this, whichever way it goes. What's your verdict? Do you think this was a religious procession? Or just a political procession thinly disguised as a religious procession? Driver killed and 3 passengers injured in relentless attack in Coroni. A Barataria man who recently moved to Kelly Village, Coroni, was killed on Friday night as he returned to his rented apartment in the quiet area located off Sunarine Terrace. Chevron Nicky Manzano, 39, was pursued and shot dead by 3 gunmen who had been waiting in the bushes. Around 11:50 p.m. on Friday, Manzano, who had addresses at Silver Mill San Juan and Mount Dior Road Camp Fleurs, was in the company of 3 others in a Toyota Axio proceeding along Sagram Drive when the gunmen opened gunfire on the vehicle. In a bid to escape his killers, the injured Manzano ran through an empty lot but collapsed 1 street away along Ishmael Avenue. He was followed and shot several more times. He died at the scene. Alicia Mohammed, 25, and Brian Mohammed, 19, both of River Estate, Diego Martin and Travana Mirage, 19, of Madras Road, St. Helena, were injured during the incident. As the gunmen fled in a waiting vehicle, residents found the 3 injured people hiding in a house. They were taken to the hospital for treatment. When the Sunday Guardian visited the area yesterday, residents refused to speak about the incident. Manzano only moved into the area 1 month ago. Meanwhile, a second man died following a similar incident hours earlier at Dindley Gardens, Trin City. Around 9:34 p.m., Jaron Kiteman Kalist was shot as he exited Debbie's convenience store at McConney Street. Kalist, 34, of Upper 7th Avenue, Malik Barataria, collapsed on the road. Residents rushed the injured man to the Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex, Mount Hope, where he was pronounced dead. Investigators have described the murder as gang-related. Police believe that an attempt was made to kill Kalist 2 weeks ago. The gunmen escaped after the vehicle they were driving along Upper 7th Avenue was intercepted by officers on patrol. During that incident, the 2 men fired at officers as they abandoned the car and fled on foot. The officers returned fire and gave chase but were unable to arrest the suspects. Man killed in Longdenville Accident. An accident in Longdenville this morning has left 1 person dead. While the information on the incident is still coming in, Loop News was told that the accident happened at about 3:30 a.m. today along the southern main road in Longdenville. While officers arrived at the scene, they observed a black Nissan Almera had been crashed along the roadway. Inside the car were 2 male occupants. They were both taken for medical treatment. However, it was said that the passenger of the car succumbed to his injuries. More on this as it becomes available. Man with criminal charges pending fatally shot by police in Enterprise. A man with firearm, robbery and narcotics matters pending in court was fatally shot by police in Enterprise, Chaguanas on Friday. The deceased was identified by police as Joshua Christopher, alias Shorto. A police report said that around 5:10 a.m., officers of the Central Division Intelligence Unit and Central Division Task Force Area North executed a warrant to search for firearms and ammunition at a house at the corner of Postman Drive and Mano Drive. The police said they came under gunfire and they returned fire. The officers then found Christopher with gunshot wounds. A revolver was found next to him, police said. He was taken to the Chaguanas District Health Facility where he died while undergoing treatment. Senior Superintendent Kurt Simpson and other senior officers of the Central Division Police are continuing investigations. Two men arrested during anti-crime exercise in Longdenville. According to police reports, during the exercise, a search warrant for illegal firearms and ammunition was executed at the home of Nicholas Ford, 32, of Piquet No. 1, Longdenville, where 6 rounds of 9mm ammunition were allegedly found and seized from under a bed. Also, simultaneously, David Laborde, 18, of Blank Street, San Juan, the driver of a blue Baleno wagon, who was present at the time, was searched and a quantity of cannabis amounting to 400 grams was found and seized. Both men were arrested and taken to the Bison Street police station where they were charged for the offenses by P.C. Garner. The exercise continued and the officers proceeded to the Canada Plannings in Beverly Hills, Longdenville, and based on information received, several vacant apartments were searched, during which WPC Skeet found and seized a quantity of cannabis amounting to 300 grams. WPC Skeet is continuing inquiries. The exercises were coordinated by Senior Superintendent Oswayne Subero and ASP Joachim and under the supervision of Corporal Phillips. Woman arrested during anti-crime exercise in Piarco. One woman was arrested after a quantity of marijuana was found at a home in Piarco. According to police reports, officers went to a home at 12th Street, Oropoon Gardens, Piarco, where P.C. Lewis executed a search warrant for narcotics and allegedly found a total of 600 grams of marijuana packaged out in 29 grams plastic packets. The lone female present at the house was arrested for the offense. A warrant is to be issued for the arrest of the brother, who also lives at the address. The exercise was coordinated by Superintendent Edwards, ASP Coggins, Inspector Pitt, and supervised by Sergeant Caldon and Corporal Durity. 3 houses in the Oropoon Gardens district were searched for narcotics.